instead of using the hammer of some intense practices, we can just take the ego by the hand, so to speak, like a child, and say, okay, come, let's sit down and have a look. And this is what we're doing here. Let's have a look if this is all true, what you're believing about yourself. Because deep down in the heart of the ego, so to speak, the ego also wishes to dissolve back into the heart of awareness, because deep down it's made of awareness. It knows it's not real. It knows that it's a fiction. Deep, 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 deep down in the heart of the ego, it's like, okay, please expose me, but let's play. Let's pretend for a while. So here we are not focusing, so to speak, only on the eternal, infinite nature of our being. These teachings, these sharings, are meant to bring understanding to all of our experience, to bring it all together. How does this infinite, eternal awareness relate to this separate me? How does it relate to the world? How does it relate to my work? How does it relate to my body? How does it relate to my emotions? How does it all fit together? How does it all make sense together? So let's look at this apparent separate me for a moment, at this ego. We looked and investigated the essential self in our meetings. Let's have a brief look at this fiction of me. What is it made of? How can it convince me over and over again, possibly, that it's me, that it's suffering, that it needs this desperately and cannot stand this? When we look for it, for this separate me, what do we find? There are thoughts about me. I am this, I am that. I'm happy, I'm sad. I'm a success, I'm a failure, I'm beautiful, I'm ugly. There are thoughts about myself, thoughts about anything. Thoughts that, when they come from the separate self, are attached to an I, a me, that sees itself apart from other people, apart from things, apart from the world, separate. The center of the universe is this apparent me, is this apparent I. Every single experience is compared, related to this psychological me. It's like the old model of the universe, that the earth is the center of the universe. This is the ego. I am the center of the universe. A point in space and time, a body that is in competition in relation to other beings, other things. And thoughts are a very powerful tool to feed this belief of me and others. So there are all those thoughts based on the foundation of me being a separate person, being a body mind, conditioned into my system for God knows how long, the belief that I am limited, somehow maybe sitting here behind my forehead, looking from here at the world and being trapped in here in this body. And all my thinking as a separate me is based on this belief. Nevertheless, I am aware of those thoughts. The thoughts are not aware. I am aware of those thoughts about. And they come and they go. What else do I find that apparently confirms to me being a separate me? I will find feelings. Especially in and as the body, that seem to confirm the heaviness, the separateness, the density of a separate me. especially in the form of sensations. Sensations that seem to confirm that I am something, a dense something made of heavy mass that is apart, separate from the world and other beings. The separate self has accumulated a lot of unintegrated experiences, unintegrated, unprocessed feelings that are usually stored in the body. We'll get to that, what I mean by the body, but for now we can just take it. It makes the impression that my skin, my flesh and bone, so to speak, is me. And this density, this heaviness creates a apparent continuity. There is so much memory stored in my body, in my feelings, that it almost creates a sense of something that is lasting, that is always here. But all those feelings, all those sensations, when we really look at them and expose them, we see that they are fleeting. No matter how solid they seem to be, in reality, they come and go like everything else. And I am aware of this coming and going of my feelings. What else is there in my human experience that apparently creates a sense of a separate me? Perceptions. When I look, the image presented to my consciousness seems to confirm that I am here and others are there, that there are things outside of me. Very convincing. all sense perceptions seem to confirm a separate me when not investigated deeply, which is part of our meetings, especially in those body contemplations. And then there is more subtle perceptions, for some that go even beyond the sense perceptions, subtle experience of energy, light. It's not rocket science, really, this human experience. Thoughts, feelings, perceptions in different degrees. That's pretty much it. And always the one who is aware of all of those. So when we look at our essential self, we look at that which is aware. That which is not coming and going, that which is not fleeting, that which has been always there. Before we were born and after the body dies. So this separate me, though, which we are looking at today, this person, I am John Smith, male, 45 years old. I have this occupation and this hobbies and this and that. And I feel so and so, and I see so and so. This illusion of this separate me, we can see clearly, it's just made out of those thoughts, feelings, perceptions. In other words, the activity of I am, of consciousness, this activity, the dynamic aspect of consciousness that emerges out of the stillness, the static aspect of consciousness, creates this play, this world, and this avatar, this apparent separate me. And the Maya, the confusion, the ignorance, is to mix, to mash, to mishmash, so to speak, the static, the I amness, the pure I, the consciousness, with those appearances in me, with these thoughts, feelings, perceptions, with names and forms, Namarupa. They attach and mishmash with me and create a, because deep down in our hearts, we all feel there is a continuity, something that is constant, that is eternal. We know that there is a continuity that is holding everything together. But the confusion, the ignorance, mixes that which is eternal, infinite, and continuous with that which is fleeting, with those thoughts, feelings, and perceptions. And this Maya, this confusion, creates the separate me, the activity of consciousness as thoughts, feelings, perceptions, mixes with awareness, consciousness. To the degree that the consciousness, the awareness part is overlooked. Because it's invisible, it's not perceivable, it's not thinkable, it's not feelable, the consciousness part, so to speak, which is not a part, of course. The Maya turns the attention of the mind, the consciousness, into the phenomenal experience of thinking, feeling, and perceiving, to the degree that that which is perceiving, which is awareing, is overlooked, is forgotten. And all what's left are these fleeting phenomena. And now we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. Because without the awareness, without the consciousness, the ego needs to create a fake continuity of a me. It needs to keep running like a scared rabbit and creating thoughts, feelings, sense perceptions. It needs to run the show infinitely to create this imagined continuity of this mishmash of thinking, feeling, perceiving that is me, apparently. And because deep down in its heart it knows that it's just thoughts, feelings, perceptions, and not an entity, but just an activity, there is fear. Always fear underneath. And it creates this desire to keep going, to keep the need. It's not a free desire of joy, a celebration that we speak here so often about, the expression of the freedom of consciousness. It's the need of the ego to maintain its illusion of an entity that is made out of this activity of consciousness. But it's not an entity. It's not a person, a continuous person. It's just a fleeting, ever-changing activity in the name of thoughts, feelings, and perceptions that I, awareness, am aware of. So if I can truly see that this apparent me is just this coming of going of thoughts, feelings, perception based on the illusion of a separate me, who I'm going to kill, who I'm going to transcend. There is no me, there is no meanness, there is no reality. in the ego it's just a play of forms that has attached itself to the real me, to the real I, to consciousness.